We talk about Atomic Blonde. I saw that last night. I saw the scene where like she like stabs a dude with like keys and he like stuck in his cheek, and then he like fights for like 3 more minutes with it stuck in his cheek.
Well, I mean,
And I'm like, just pull it out, bro.
I mean, that might cause more damage.
I watched.
Well, he rips it out later. And I'm like, why didn't you do that before?
Well, I mean, during combat, what if it like ripped a hole in his cheek?
Yeah.
Maybe,
like
yeah.
A massive hole that she could just like grab and like.
Last night, I watched Halloween Town 2, Calabar's Revenge.
Why?
Calabar's not even in the movie. I was lied to.
Calabar isn't even in Calabar's Revenge?
No, it's his son. Because Calabar dies at the end of Halloween Town 1, and then it's his son in Halloween Town 2.
That sounds bad.
It's better than the first movie.
Also, I remember seeing Calabar. He was not the best looker. It looked like he was being played by coke bloated Dan Aykroyd.
Ooh.
How in the hell does he have a son?
Was it being played by Dan Aykroyd?
I don't remember. It doesn't explain it. But his son then makes his own dad out of a pile of frogs. Anyway.
All aboard!
Hey! Huh? Up! What? Wow! Yeah!
Welcome, everybody, to episode 23 of WhereStreamsComeTrue.
Am I in shot?
Is that right? It's 23. You are in the shot, yes.
Okay.
This is the show where we suffer through the entire good and bad of Disney. Plus, I am not tired for this recording. That's different.
Ooh.
I am your host, Collins, and joining me today are my guests, Cameron Jackson and Rylan Sparrow.
Indeed.
This is Rylan's first time to the show. Direct most of your comments towards the camera, if you may. Although your mic is a little in a weird spot
Sounds
for that
good.
to work.
You don't have to do this.
You don't have
I
to,
made it so you could just sit here and talk. Okay.
You don't have to
Okay.
do this, but the audience likes it. This week we have the pleasure of watching Egypt's Treasure Guardians.
Oh, I gotta get my notes.
I put a lot of... Wow.
I have to take notes, otherwise I forget everything about
For
the movie I
some
watched.
reason, Disney
Well,
Plus uses
in these.
the OVO font.
Ew, what?
And no, actually, everything's in OVO. What the heck? Anyway, the 2016 documentary by directors Ben Allen and Tom Jenner. Egypt is home to many of the most famous archaeological treasures on Earth. But over the past 5 years, from 2016, Egypt has suffered a tumultuous revolution and tourist numbers have plummeted. This program, spelled P-O-R-O-G-A-M-M-E, it's a British spelling, follows a select cast of individuals determined to bring Egypt back from the brink, to discover more of Egypt's history, to keep its heritage safe, and to get tourists to visit the country again. We'll begin with initial thoughts. As always, have you seen this movie before? What was your experience the first time viewing and now the second viewing? Or if this is your first time viewing, what's that like? We'll start with Cameron. I like to start with Cameron.
Thanks. Never seen this movie before, obviously, because I don't watch documentaries. First time viewing it was... it's kind of boring. I don't like documentaries. Is this a BBC production?
No, it's National Geographic.
Okay, I found this on PBS for some reason.
Yeah, it is on PBS.
Okay, I was like, is this a PBS show? But then
I hope
there was
we
a bunch
watched
of
the
British
same
people on it.
documentary.
Yeah, me too.
I think we'll be able to figure that out pretty quick. And Ryland.
This is my first time watching it. I'm not a big Disney Pluser. I only did it for the Clone Wars and the Mandalorian. But I am a big fan of documentaries. I love watching them. About different topics than Egypt and archaeology and whatnot. But while I did find it to be interesting, I didn't think it went deep enough or had, I don't know, like...
Any sort of layers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just a lot of parallel layers, I guess. This was actually already on my watch list when it got rolled because I thought it looked interesting. It wasn't as interesting as I thought it would be. I think it needed to be longer. And also, like, it's an older film, so like some of the stuff is out of date.
Yeah, it came out in 2016.
Came out in 2016, so it's like, where like when it says that the Grand Egyptian Museum was supposed to come out in 2018, it's still not open.
Yeah. It's supposed to be finished later this year,
Yeah.
and then premiere in the beginning of 2021.
Which is unlikely.
Yeah, very unlikely.
Not just the cranes breaking. But yeah, that's my. I feel like it didn't accomplish anything, really.
I feel like
It did leave me wanting more, but I mean,
I would have to say that too. This documentary is 45 minutes long, and I wish they did more with it because I feel like it's an interesting topic, not only about archaeology and sort of there's this theme of Egyptian culture and sort of reclaiming that culture. But there's also the theme of economic collapse, which is not a very lighthearted theme, but it is nonetheless what Egypt is going through. They recently had civil war, was it?
yeah, something like that. It mentions a revolution.
There was a revolution.
Yeah.
And that compounded with other factors has drastically decreased tourism. And essentially
90%, I believe.
Yeah, and I believe
What?
Yeah,
90% of what?
It's been reduced by 90%.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and tourism is a big moneymaker for Egypt, especially with the pyramids and the Sphinx, the Tomb of Kings, the Valley of the Kings.
Valley of the Kings, yeah.
I think all of the tombs are kings.
It's been a while since I played Assassin's Creed Origins, so my Egypt knowledge is a little rusty.
Yeah, and
That's mostly where I'm going to be coming from.
And
Yeah, when exactly do the hidden blades come in this archaeological dig?
Oh, not yet. We're gonna find them.
But yeah, I feel like it could have gone into a lot more of that stuff. And while I did find the archaeological aspects fascinating, I feel like it would have been. I feel like the theme of economic downturn and trying to get this museum to come back up should have taken more of a front seat, I suppose.
It seemed a little split between like a reality documentary of like showing these people's lives and stuff and actually being informative. It didn't really decide which one it wanted to be.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's get into the full review, which I still have written down as an estimated 10 minutes, even though we've never done that for any episode. I'm gonna put 100 minutes. There's no obviously there for a documentary like this. There's no full summary or synopsis on IMDb or anything, so I just wrote my own of just the person and their job and vaguely what's going on.
Can you write them and just put the ones you've written on like IMDb?
I could. This one wouldn't be that good.
It'd be better than what they already have.
Yeah, we begin with the intro, which it lets you skip, which is dumb.
I did skip it.
No, that's the one that basically tells you about all the the collapse and.
Oh, that's where it tells you about the collapse. Yeah.
Oh, you were just like, where is that supposed to be happening?
Yeah, it upfronts all that stuff, and it's where they let you skip it because it's not part of the series. We begin with the point of view of Ibrahim Morgan, I believe. I'm going to butcher all these pronunciations, so just bear with me. The tour guide who... people running outside. Who insists that Egypt is safe, and the more he said it, the less I believed him.
Oh my gosh, that made me laugh so hard because he's like, guys, Egypt is safe.
Is safe.
I mean, I get it. Like,
it's his job.
Tourism is a big chunk of their profits, right?
Yeah.
Like, I would be pretty desperate in getting people back. Pretty eager.
Mm-hmm. Or start digging in your basement for artifacts.
If I was the director of this documentary, I'd be like, "Do you want to say that at least one more time?"
Try and be convincing this time. Egypt is safe. And he keeps looking over his shoulder.
Yeah.
And then he's only there for 2 minutes, and then we move on. So that's all for Ibrahim. Then we move on to the GEM, the Grand Egyptian Museum, with Dr. People, please. My goodness.
Yo, we're trying to record in here.
With Dr. Tariq Tafiq, the general director, who...
He seems to be like the quote unquote main character.
Yeah,
A lot of
we
the,
go back to him a lot.
A lot of the explanation of the artifacts recovered and the museum itself comes from him.
Oh, it was he the guy that was talking about the crane when they were like lowering
No,
it
that's
down?
No, Eddie comes later. Eddie's my favorite.
No, not the Eddie, the crane guy, but he was like with they
Oh.
like when they were like putting that tomb on like the first
yeah.
time it like touched the museum floor
That
or
was
whatever.
him.
That was him. Okay.
Okay. And like it opens with him in his car, on a phone call or something. I don't remember.
I don't remember.
It's for 45 minutes. It's a bit pretty forgettable plot. I found the idea of the gem pretty interesting.
Yeah,
Of just
for
like
sure.
centralizing all of Egypt stuff, which I think is a good idea. Like, regardless of if there's a revolution going on, having all of the important artifacts centralized into one museum would make visiting Egypt so much easier for a lot of people. Instead of like going out in the hot sun to physically visit the pyramids or the Sphinx or something, go indoor.
Which I
probably
mean, if you
air
want to do
conditioned.
that.
Yeah, you can still do that. And like it's definitely safe because it's an enclosed building, and you get to see all the cool stuff.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
Yeah,
so
you got
I'm
there.
I'm so glad I took notes.
Yes, thank you. I
But-
love your notes.
Because I forgot about this. So they have like a design, and I can't remember where it was. It was like on the walls or something for like the gem. And the design is the exact same design that is on mocap suits in Hollywood.
Oh, like with all the balls and stuff?
With all like the triangles and stuff.
Yeah.
Where it was like upside down and like all. Yeah, that's the exact same
they
design
wanted to,
that's
like-
on a mocap suit in Hollywood. I looked it up.
I didn't notice
I'm like,
that.
what?
Because they wanted to like evoke the look of the pyramids or
That
something.
makes sense in that. I mean,
It's so funny though. I was like, what?
And I guess like it's within view of the pyramids, which is pretty cool. At least the
Oh yeah, that was cool.
the
Yeah.
concept art.
the greater pyramids, not the lesser pyramids.
Mm-hmm.
There's 2 sections. Again, thanks Assassin's Creed. And then we move on to my favorite character, Eddie Kennertz.
Eddie.
Eddie.
Just
So we're just
Eddie.
gonna call him Eddie, the steel supervisor, and his broke cranes.
Yeah, he and his cranes had an arc in this
Yeah,
documentary.
had an
Yeah.
arc in this whole movie of the cranes not working, and when we first meet him, it's like we're already 2 weeks behind schedule. This needs to be done like tomorrow.
Oh
It's
my
not going to be.
I love that so much.
And
It's so
yeah,
relatable.
it's so relatable. He's just given up almost, and
Just seems
oh,
like tired.
he
Mhm.
seems so tired. He's definitely the most down to earth person here. Like he doesn't care if he's in the.
What
going
changed
on now?
shots?
Yeah, that's what it does. It changed shots. We are
Still only one sun.
in
That's good.
Egypt. You know, with the moisture farms
Yeah.
that they have in Egypt. And anything else about Eddie? You know,
Not
wanna talk
really.
about? feel
I
like
learned a
should
lot about cranes from this.
learn
Do
a lot
you-
about cranes.
Yeah, like-
this crane's been broken for a month.
I do want to mention one thing.
When it breaks, it breaks.
There is a narrator for the documentary, and the narrator, when it is introducing Eddie and his cranes, says the pyramids were built with ramps. That's how they, stack the stones.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But now they do in fact use cranes, and I questioned the inclusion of that because that seems obvious. Like,
I think there's like technology is advanced.
We're still building things in Egypt. Oh, cranes. Oh.
I thought it was very interesting. The one scene where he was like, he got the new crane finally,
Yeah.
and then they like couldn't bring it in because he needed to have it tested.
Yeah.
But the only way they could get it tested was to bring it in.
It's like, we can't do it because it's against the rules, but we can only do it in there. But we can't do it in there. So he's on the phone with someone.
Yeah.
After Eddie's introduction, we go to the 2 archaeologists, Dr. Maria Nilsson and her husband John Ward, not a doctor, who are both archaeologists doing stuff in Karnak and the quarry.
Yeah.
That
I felt angry at that.
Yeah, I did
When
not
they
like this at all.
come over the ridge and they're just digging the quarry out and they're allowed to be there. Like, especially with what they find later, which was just like completely random that they found that. Like when people are just carving out parts of a mountainside, like yeah, you could be digging up a crypt and breaking out all the artifacts. You could be
Yeah, who knows? One scoop of soil could have, contained like a vase or
yeah.
or a trinket or something that would be really nice to put in the gem, but now will be lost because it was stuck in a. I almost said a tractor. That is not a tractor.
A big truck.
Big old truck.
A big old truck.
A
I
big
feel
scoop.
like this is a little off topic, but I feel like it's dawned on me with all the construction that's going up by Eden that I just do not remember the names of any construction equipment. Like all of my Bob the Builder knowledge has just gone away. Like I'm like, oh, it's got a scoop.
They got a big arm thingy.
You got a big arm thingy over there. What's that called? I know what a cement mixer is. That's about it. Yeah, big trucks.
Yeah, I remember the little cement mixer from Bob the Builder.
Backhoe.
And he would like dance around like cement was constantly like spill out of him onto the ground.
Just onto the ground.
Really inefficient.
Good old
Yeah.
Builder.
Someone is invading.
What is that?
Well, so what was weird about the whole quarry thing was like
Mhm.
that was the Egyptian government that gave them
Permission to be
permission to be there. So it's like you're ruining your own economic.
Yeah, for context, at first the archaeologists assumed these were like rogue quarry.
there. Illegal.
diggers,
Yeah.
which they've
apparently is
run
a
into
thing.
before, yeah.
Yeah, which apparently is a thing, which I didn't know about, but I can see why
Mm-hmm.
it would be bad.
Because I guess it's good stone there.
Yeah.
And like, well, what he says later, I thought was good. That like, they're not saying that there shouldn't be any quarrying go on, but they should let the archaeologists do a once over to make sure there's nothing there.
Yeah.
Then have at it.
Yeah, because I mean, it is a resource. They do have a right to dig stone to get those natural materials, but they did not give any warning. They did not
No.
say, "Hey, we have archaeologists coming to check out the site."
Gosh, that probably ruined their whole day. Because like
Yeah.
they got everyone together, they got all their supplies, they drove out there, and it's like, well,
Well, didn't they take a boat too?
yeah, like we got to turn back now.
Also, that's from Battlefront 2.
No, it's Egypt.
Oh, that's why it's a different quality.
It's Egypt.
The new Battlefront 2.
The new Battlefront 2.
The one that takes place in Egypt.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a frustrating thing. Like he talks about in the car ride that
The boat ride.
the boat ride. It's amazing. I don't know what his accent was.
Yeah, he
It was
makes
definitely
up,
British.
He's like an amalgamation of all like the classic archaeologists.
Yeah.
But like dumbed down. Like he's kind of got Indiana Jones vibe, kind of a Nathan Drake, but like not really good enough in any of them. He's just
Yeah,
he's got the beard. He's got the pokey hair.
yeah.
he's-
He looks like the archaeological action hero that
Yeah.
Harrison Ford has popularized.
I think
But-
he knew he was. I don't know if he always dresses like that, but he knew he was going to be on camera. So
Yeah.
100%. I mean,
look like an
I mean,
archaeologist.
why not peacock out? You know?
Yeah, his wife is just dressed normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he makes a point that it's like, it was like the narrator's like, even though his attempts were thwarted by the quarry diggers, he sees the light or the limelight. Or
Yeah, the silver
limestone.
The silver lining.
They've been
Thank you.
digging this stone for centuries,
Yeah,
and
it-
you still use it, which is cool.
It is cool,
That's
but
just one
he was
location that they've been able to use for building for centuries.
for thousands of years.
Yeah.
But it's also him covering for his anger.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, he's probably just when the cameras aren't running, just swearing.
Yeah.
Oh, I would be.
Also, one thing about him, they eventually go to a different site,
They do.
and he brings a consultant because he finds this little like.
Scylla.
Oh yeah, like the bone.
The
Yeah, he
bone,
finds
oh,
this Bone
she's
doctor.
Nuts. We'll get to her later.
Yeah,
Um,
he brings this woman to check out this sort of crypt he found.
Dr.
kinda
Salima
like-
Ikram.
Yeah, that's carved into the side of a hill.
Mhm.
And I do notice that he keeps persisting or wishing.
Oh, that it's a crypt.
It is a crypt, but he
Yes.
keeps wishing that it's a crypt for the workers.
Yeah,
oh, that
that's
was
right.
weird.
And
It's
he
because
kept-
they don't have crypts for workers, so he's like, I want to find something new. I gotta get
I
that
like
PhD.
to imagine that the celebrities were the quarry workers, and she's like,
Yeah, no.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. If you realized worker conditions in ancient Egypt,
Not
they
the best.
they could not have afford a tomb carved into the side of a hill.
Yeah, they were probably just down on the
I
ground.
was surprised to learn that. I don't know if it was all the pyramids, but at least some of the pyramids were not built by slave labor. They were workers.
Built by aliens.
They were workers. I don't. But there's like, I guess, like stuff like Prince of Egypt and stuff made everyone believe that everything was built by slaves, but really it wasn't.
It wasn't.
But still, like, their working conditions were not good.
Yeah.
The poor were poor, very.
Very, yes.
And yeah, I mean,
what middle class?
I mean, back in
Egypt.
those times when you had like
Where,
the Romans running around and whatnot, slaves did make up a big part of the economy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And like when your governmental leader is considered a deity, gosh, that must be weird.
Yeah.
It's like a new person gets elected president. Okay, they are now a god. They control the sun and the moon and the stars.
Yeah, but after they cut to the two archaeologists, they cut back to the museum, to the finished part, the conservation lab.
Oh, yeah.
Well, actually, a little before that, we are introduced to Dr. Ahmed Saleh, who's the director of Aswan Antiquities. He's doing the engravings and stuff.
Yeah.
He's studying those, and then we get the one of my favorite stories in this is the treasure basement of the person who drilled a hole into his basement, who just drilled a hole through his floor. Like, I'm gonna find some treasure, get some money, and sell it. And how there's $20 billion of black market artifacts that have been sold, which is nuts.
Yeah.
People just like it's illegal to sell artifacts there, but people would just like dig put a rug over it and then just dig under their house trying to find stuff.
That's what I wanted to talk about. They make such a minor point of it, like it's an anecdote.
I feel like that's a huger deal that they should have talked about.
$20 billion that could be put into museums, or it could be, for taxes or whatever.
It's history that's just
and it's history. And you have people like this individual. I don't think they ever specify.
They don't say the name.
They say the suspect. He just straight up dug a hole, drilled a hole into his ground floor.
They inspect people's houses for stuff like that.
Yeah, and he found a cavern, that has artifacts in it.
Imagine how nuts that must be to live somewhere where there is a high probability that there's treasure under your house.
Yeah.
That must be crazy.
That would be crazy.
I can see how that would be very tempting.
Yeah, it would be tempting, and I must say, if I were put into the same conditions, I might have done the same.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I don't know if I would have made the hole that big though.
There's a local legend that my house has a hidden room underneath it, built by polygamists, where the husband would hide if the authorities came.
Your house specifically?
My house specifically, but there's no way of really getting to it without busting out part of the house. But I'm constantly I want to find it.
Knocking on the
floor.
I mean, it's tempting.
And older people in the neighborhood would be like, "Oh yeah, it's under this floor." Well, there's no way to get there because it's hardwood.
Yeah, but
there's a mystery coal chute on the side of the house that is completely filled up with dirt. They buried wherever this coal chute leads. But imagine that. But there could be
sounds like a new studio space.
Treasure chamber. Oh my gosh, I keep being I want to dig up the coal chute. My mom's like, do not dig up the coal chute. What's it? There's a basement. Anyway, but yeah, I could see how that would be extremely tempting.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know.
Yeah, but there's a much greater theme like this economic. I think that would be very interesting. I mean, it might not appeal to people like Cameron who don't particularly take to documentaries, but I feel
it would be more interesting than kind of jumping around from topic to topic and having just a little bit of each.
Not only is there too many perspectives, but there's also a lack of stakes. Documentaries, I've noticed, tend to have a lot of drama, a lot of drama and a lot of stakes. Unless it's straight up David Attenborough, National Geographic. Let's show you some pretty pictures of some fish, which I enjoy too. But a lot of documentaries now have like a central tension. And I noticed that was underplayed. It was present, but it was underplayed within the documentary. And every time they mentioned, oh yeah, we had a revolution and our tourism is down, and basically a whole big chunk of our income is missing.
I believe that like the tour guide at the beginning, the purpose of this documentary, part of the purpose of the documentary is to convince people that Egypt is safe to return
100%, and they have every right to push that theme.
Yes. Like they were definitely downplaying a lot of stuff. So then we return to Dr. Tariq with the introduction of a lot of the Tutankhamun exhibit stuff
the
that they're going to be
conservation
opening
lab.
there. Yeah.
That was so pretty to look at. Like, they just took out this old tomb. It was super dusty. They were taking sandals.
Yeah,
of
those
it.
sandals. I was like, what?
That's nuts.
3,000-year-old
The
sandals.
Tutankhamun stuff is neat.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't hype up Tutankhamun as much as a lot of things do, for good reason, because he's not that hype worthy as a historical figure. I guess the only notable thing he did was he was Akhenaten's son, and he restored the polytheistic religion of Egypt because his dad tried to make it monotheistic.
The sun god or something.
Yeah, the sun god, and that of course he himself was part of the worship or whatever. But then when his son became pharaoh, he tore down those temples and stuff
and rebuilt them for polytheism.
Yeah. Which is cool. And then he died, and he was laid rested in an antechamber of like his mother's tomb or something like that, because he died prematurely, so they didn't have one ready for him. It's like just stick him in the closet.
Yeah.
Of this other person's
And
tomb.
it really kind of the doctor points out, it kind of humanizes him later on, because you get to see stuff that belonged to him, like his 3,000-year-old sandals, and probably more morbidly and more gruesomely, the 2 mummified fetuses of his daughters.
Oh yeah.
Perished because of horrible inbreeding.
Horrible inbreeding. You got to keep that bloodline pure.
He himself was inbred.
Yeah.
And they came to this conclusion because his bone structure was a bit off. And his tomb was filled with, like, what was it, 20 walking canes?
Yeah.
Because the dude had a limp.
Couldn't walk.
I mean, that sucks.
Yeah. There's one, like the Hidden Secrets of Tutankhamun or whatever documentary on Disney Plus that really tries to make him seem more important than he actually was. Like, was he a military commander and a fierce warrior secretly? And it was like, no, he was a frail child.
Yeah.
He was a frail child who could barely walk.
Yeah.
It's like he has some like injuries on his bones, like probably from like falling down the stairs or something. He didn't see that. Anyway, it's cool. And when that, I'm not going to Egypt when that museum opens up.
They take these there's this one sarcophagus that they show, and they kind of intersect it within the documentary footage, and it's the sarcophagus that's being restored, and you see the end restoration, and it looks beautiful. It's shiny, and like all the colors are very vibrant, and it's awesome. And I mean, what they're doing there is good work, and I'm very, very glad that it wasn't even though it was English produced, I'm very glad the project wasn't English ran.
Yeah.
Because
I
was a bit worried.
There were only 2 English people in the documentary.
Yeah, I was a bit worried. And they were hired by the Egyptian government. Yeah. They weren't there of their own volition.
Which is good.
Or, well, they were there of their own volition, but they weren't there on part of the English government.
Yeah.
Because,
to take more artifacts back to Britain.
Because...
Put them in their museum.
Oh, my God.
I must admit, I'm very taken by the old Universal horror movies, right? Frankenstein, Dracula with Bela Lugosi. I quite like those. One I never quite took to was The Mummy, and the reason, I don't know, it never just interested me. Like, I kind of got the premise as soon as I saw it. But it is also kind of racist, because
it's kind of racist
for sure.
Because, I mean, think about it. These were people's religious burial ceremonies, right? And then you have the Scramble for Africa, And here comes the UK, and they are going to dig up your bodies and make horror movies based around your burial ceremonies, which is not good. And there was this video floating around on Twitter recently of these European archaeologists, I believe, digging up and opening a tomb. And I was just like, you can't do that anymore, right? Like, you can't have a movie like the old days where some white British guy in his khaki shorts and his safari hat says, I'm going to find myself a mummy, and I'm going to return it to the great old Britain land.
Yeah.
Museum.
Well, they had something. Well, they actually released Laura Croft Tomb Raider. I can't remember what they called it, and it was very similar, but she didn't take anything.
Yeah, well, yeah, in the most recent Tomb Raider movie,
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, the most recent.
Yeah, she doesn't.
But
take
the point being, I was very nervous watching this.
Oh yeah, for
because
sure.
I was like, I don't want it. But no, it's Egyptian Wan.
That reminds me of something that I was thinking about, that sort of thing of like, is it disrespectful to remove these sarcophaguses from their burial places because like they believed that they needed to stay there or they wouldn't reach the afterlife. So like, is removing them like a trespass and that sort of thing? But when they delve into like the amount of raiding that goes on, like putting these mummies in a place like the Grand Egyptian Museum is a necessity.
Egypt,
they're more safe. Yeah, in Egypt is what they should, because they are more safe in a museum than they are where they were buried, which is unfortunate. But like they were being raided like
no other.
The pharaoh was buried. A month later, people are trying to break in. That's why they had all the like false entrances and traps, not like as elaborate as Indiana Jones style traps, but traps nonetheless. More stuff that would like just block you in and make you starve to death.
And I guess in this case, Egypt is making the decision, and I think it's their decision to make. And I mean, it's not like they're selling them in order to get like government funding. They are conserving them.
It'd be very nice as well if the British Museum gave all of its artifacts back to the countries they belong to.
That will never ever happen.
Yeah, they're still looking at it.
And as you can see, we come across a Egyptian spaceship.
Of course, yes.
Yep.
The classic Egyptian spaceship. Have you not seen this before?
Yes. But they're restoring it. They're doing great jobs. They have a lot of dedicated teams.
It's cool. We return now to Eddie and his broken cranes. More of that. And then after that, we are introduced. Oh, not the inscriptions. I was wrong when I was talking about the director of Antiquities. That was the treasure basement guy. Mohamed Saad is the archaeologist that does the inscriptions. He's got a pretty cool little scene. He shows up with the archaeologist couple as well.
He's getting his PhD.
PhD. Good for him. I hope he has it by now.
Also, I noticed that he said he was tracing the inscriptions, and I was like, "Ooh, you have to be quite careful."
Yep.
But no, what he does is he does it quite intelligently. He takes like a cover, like a non-disruptive cover, and puts it over, and he uses one of those 3D pens. If you noticed.
Oh, really?
Oh, that's
like the ones that like dispense like hot wax. Or
you can
hot
like
plastic, and then it like immediately cools. Yeah, I noticed he was using it to trace it, so he was getting like 3D hieroglyphics, and I was like, "Wow, good for him, man."
Yeah.
He seems like a younger gentleman. It's definitely someone who is getting his PhD, and I hope that's going well for you, man.
New tech.
Well, that was 4 years ago, so he probably has it.
Hopefully.
Well, we don't know.
PhDs
how far
can take
he was in it.
forever.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
But I mean, yeah, I hope that's going well, man. I hope
you're watching our podcast.
Yeah, I mean, if you are, congratulations.
If you're watching it, message us.
Yeah.
We briefly returned to the archaeologist couple who are now in the Silsila tomb complex doing stuff.
Looking at bones,
Then after that is when we find out that the hook is too small. I just have written down.
That's right.
Hook too small.
Yes, at one point
we finally got the approval to test the weight of this thing, but the hook we got was too small.
They bring in the sarcophagus,
Gotta get a bit
and
bigger.
it's on the back of a truck. And the way they do it is they are stress testing the crane.
This one doesn't break.
Yeah, and at first they have a hook that is too small in order to hold the bands or support the weight of the sarcophagus. So they get a bigger hook and the sarcophagus is heavy. That thing is like 3 tons.
This thing big.
Yeah. Like, it's about, like, a bit, bigger than a person.
Yeah, that was
because it's
really
a
surprising that it
sarcophagus.
was, like, multiple tons, was it?
Yeah, I mean, that thing is entirely made of stone, so I can't
And
say
it was
I'm
all the
surprised.
pharaoh. Can you believe that?
The pharaoh was most of the weight.
Yeah.
I mean, they had real thick bones back then.
Yeah, but they do it by they have the crane lift the sarcophagus up a little, and they take the truck that it was sitting on and they slide it out.
Yeah.
And set it
I
down.
was waiting for it to drop when they like
I-
pulled it up
I
at
was-
first.
That was drama. I was like, oh my lord! I really hope they do not drop this sarcophagus.
That was.
And they didn't. And they looked at it, and they had, I think it was the name of the guy that was in it on the side in hieroglyphics. Like,
Oh, I don't know.
The doctor was able to just offhandedly translate it, which, I mean, has got to be pretty cool.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Then after that, we get, I believe the same sarcophagus is opened by Dr. Medhat Abdallah, the head of Wood Lab. Wood Lab did, I'm not sure it was the Tutankhamun stuff, but
Yeah, no,
they did some cool
that
stuff.
sarcophagus, that was wood, or was it stone? Or was it the same sarcophagus?
I don't remember.
I thought it was a
I just
different
have a sarcophagus.
I think it was different.
It
Because
was,
they brought in a
this
new
one
one,
was
yeah.
made of wood.
Not as
That's why he's the wood specialist.
I think it was on Twitter that there's this one sarcophagus that was opened last week or something like that.
That's the one I was talking
That's what you're
about.
talking about?
The one about.
That one was freaky, and like the you can see the mummy under it, and
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit surprising.
why
I guess you have some people
Oh, and they were
get an expectation of what it
they
looks
were
like.
they were restoring the sarcophagus as well, and they were like testing to see like what was broken in it
Mhm.
in the documentary, and like restoring it to
Yeah,
a
they
certain
were
extent.
replacing paint chips that were broken.
Yeah,
And then eventually they crack that thing open and they start looking at the integrity of the mummy itself.
that's something as far as like the painting goes that I don't remember who it was that posted on Twitter that it's unfortunate that we've been under the impression for so long that history was bland and gray and like gray statues and pyramids and stuff when really it was like a multicolor freaking Wonka land where
Yeah.
like Greek statues were all these bonkers colors.
They
and
were. And
the
paint fades
pyramids
away.
the pyramids were painted white and had gold tops and they're
Yeah, it was limestone, I
it was
think.
limestone, yeah.
Limestone with gold
And
tops, but
one of the pharaohs removed all the limestone for something.
I thought that was just picked off by like raiders, or was that the
That's,
gold tops?
I believe both.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
The limestone was repurposed and stolen, and the gold was just
Historical
stolen.
figures that have already done what they did. Get your priorities straight.
Yeah,
Like, I want to see the limestone gold pyramid. That would be dope.
let's restore that. That'd be cool.
Where was that in
Let's
Assassin's Creed?
repaint. Let's.
Unity?
It was
It was.
there in Assassin's
Oh,
Creed.
dude, I don't know. I didn't play that game.
They didn't do a good enough job with the Greek one for Odyssey though. There were some painted statues, but they weren't nearly as bonkers as the actual paint was
Yeah.
on those statues.
They
were
had vibrant colors
Nice.
that really saturated.
like neon greens and stuff. It's great. We get more crane stuff after that. A lot of cutting back to the cranes.
The cranes
very
are important
interesting.
because they state in the very beginning of the documentary, I remember, it's very important that this museum comes up, and they're 5 years behind schedule.
There's something about like that like triangular like steel thing that they were making at one
Oh,
point.
and they're like, oh yeah, when they're putting in the like front facade thing. That's the weird architecture. And they're
Yeah.
like, it's like, I don't know how we're gonna do this.
I mean, we joke about Eddie being included since he's just the crane guy, but the crane guy is
Crane
very
guy-
important. He's
He's
very
the
critical.
hero of this
Yeah,
documentary.
like-
Well, he's
they-
not the crane guy. He's just like in charge of
He's the-
everything.
he's the
that
steel
has to do with
supervisor.
Steel,
He's the
yeah.
steel supervisor, and
Yeah.
mainly that's what the cranes are used for. And he uses the crane, like when the new crane comes in, he's very happy, obviously,
Brand new
and
crane.
like a heroic overture plays as shots of the cranes lifting steel pipes goes from morning till sunset. And I get it. Like, you can't haul those things. They're steel tubes.
Oh, yeah, like
those
the
things are
construction
heavy.
for like, because they had this like the weird artistic design for it, and finding a way to physically construct that must have been an absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
Cranes. Then we return with the couple who have found the entrance to a crypt, and Dr. Salima Ikram shows up, and she is ridiculous at what she does, where she's just like, oh, this bone is from a leg, mid-30s male, sets aside, and it's like, how?
She is a psychic.
How do you know this? It's like, yeah, we've got multiple people here. They both look to be in their 20s or 30s.
Yeah.
It's like,
And here comes this older woman. She walks with a.
she walks with a crane.
She walks with a.
A
Not a
cane.
crane.
She walks with the crane, yeah.
She walks with a cane, and then she just like gets on her hands and knees with this thing. Like,
He
oh,
was
I feel claustrophobic.
the Nathan Drake-esque
Yeah.
archaeologist was like,
What's his name?
ladies
Alan.
first,
He's-
and she was like,
John
ladies first,
Ward.
and she just ditches her crane and hops in. That's a lot of dedication.
That's very unladylike. She's like,
So she has a pretty good laugh at it.
I didn't, but yeah, I guess she found it funny.
Sure.
And yeah, like all the bones
British
and
humor.
stuff,
Yeah,
and he's like, I think this is for the workers.
And she was like,
You don't
no.
always get what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. Things are different than what you might wish them, Doctor.
It's
And
probably
I was like,
just
wow, that is
Oh, that's-
straight up Indiana Jones.
That's what it was talking
Dialogue.
about. That because the pyramids were so easily robbed, they started burying people in the Valley of the Kings because those were like they're kind of like hiding them almost.
Mm-hmm.
But they were a little harder. Still got robbed. But yeah, I guess like they would figure that it wasn't that much. It wasn't worth the effort to build these grand pyramids when they were just gonna get robbed by
Invaders.
or the protagonist of Assassin's Creed Origins.
Yeah.
You can rob all those. You could be extremely disrespectful to the remains of the corpses.
Even though they are not really remains, they should be regular corpses. In the
In
game.
theory,
Yeah.
get embalmed.
Yeah, Ubisoft.
Ubisoft.
But then,
Where's your accuracy, Ubisoft?
but then other,
Where's the multicultural naked people, Ubisoft?
but yeah, like, and then, like how I said, there should have been a bigger central tension. We finally get one towards the end of the documentary.
And then they just
actually
cut it
haven't-
off
They haven't found
short.
the crypt yet when she shows up. We get more museum stuff. Then actually Momin finds it. The inscription guy. He's the one who finds. he's
That's
just
his PhD.
Listen to this, bedrock. Listen to this.
Ding ding, and it sounds hollow. That like usually in movies when they do like the doo 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 doo.
Yeah, they're like, see the difference? I'm like,
Yeah,
no.
there's no difference, but there's a very loud difference, and they discover the door to a crypt.
Which we don't get to see the inside of
Yeah,
in the documentary.
and the reason they did that, it wasn't because they were lazy and just cut it short. It was because they discovered it at the tail end
Of the time they were allotted.
Their
of the
season, yeah.
archaeological season. And there is no guarantee that the next year they show up for that
That
it will be-
mountain will still be.
yeah, that it'll either still be
Oh,
there
that's
or it will
frustrating.
remain unopened.
I wonder if there's like an update to that
knows,
sort of
maybe.
thing.
You'd have to find out. But
Does Momed's crypt exist?
think about it. Like the Nathan Drake-esque archaeologist, I forget his name, points out that he said a lot of the archaeological stuff that you see in movies is not commonplace. It's super rare. Most of the time you're finding little bits and pieces. You're not like discovering tombs. This guy legitimately pulled an Indiana Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Like he has discovered an unfounded tomb. Right?
Yeah.
Like no one has ever seen this before. He is hyped, and I understand perfectly well why.
Yeah, for sure.
And like that would be like I'm trying to find a good example of something comparable. That would be like if you are a chemist, right? Most of the time you're going to be writing research papers.
Most of the time. Yeah.
Or a virologist or something.
Yeah.
Most of the time you're writing research papers, attending meetings, da-da-da-da-da. That's like finding the cure to like cancer. Well, not quite.
Yeah, you wouldn't find a cure in
Finding-
cancer in that kind of job,
finding
but
the cure
essentially
to some disease. Like, you see it in, like, zombie movies or
the
virus
common
movies.
cold, essentially.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like that is like the magnum opus of someone's career.
Mm-hmm.
And to be cut off by a season would be heartbreaking. Every time the archaeologists are shown that aren't at the museum, the couple who fell in love at that site, if you remember.
Yeah, that was
Yep,
weird.
They sure did.
Hey,
I think I may
mean,
be finding something.
love
Mhm.
sprouts in the weirdest of places. I'm not one to judge.
Yeah.
But, like, uh, to have it in seasons like that, I mean, I'm sure there's a reason why.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's dangerous when it gets to other seasons. I have no clue. I'm not.
That's what I was thinking. It was like a weather change or something, and so
Yeah.
they were like, "You can't do
Like,
that here."
I mean,
Yeah.
from what I remember, they're pretty dang close to the Nile.
Mm.
What if it floods?
Yeah, that's
right?
probably what it is.
Like, because I know that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, what if it does flood? Like, you know, well, first, the tomb might get flooded, which would be horrible. But, yeah, I mean, I can see why it is heartbreaking.
Well,
to
it's
have it
also
happen.
sealed though. The tomb was sealed, so
Well,
maybe
that's
even
sealed.
if it was flooded, it wouldn't.
And
Or
I mean,
it wouldn't actually get into the crypt.
I mean, it's not like they could just crack it open in no time jiffy and then hop in and explore it before the season ends. You need permission for that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a bunch of bureaucratic stuff. It's not like you're playing Dungeons and Dragons and you find a tomb and crack that open. There's like bureaucracy behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Did you find Momed's crypt?
I found something about their work, but I can't find anything about that specific tomb. Apparently in that area they found a workers' village of Tutankhamun, and they found a Roman burial site and
Roman, huh?
stuff.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That is
but
awesome.
no idea, and I'm not gonna look into it. If you can find that at home, put it in the comments. Oh yeah, see, Egyptian banthas.
Yeah, I'm genuinely interested to find out what they found in that.
Yeah.
crypt.
They're still doing stuff there. Like the latest update was in 2020, but I couldn't find anything about that specific tomb. So
Yeah.
like, they're still.
Yeah, and
Just-
like they said, that one city where the guy dug, is that Karnak? Is that the city?
Karnak.
Karnak.
Yes.
The city where the guy dug into his basement. Like, they make a point that that the entire modern city is built on top of the ancient city.
Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting thing. That area of the world is very common. That cities are just built on top of each other, and you can like go
Well, I mean,
down.
Yeah, you have
Through
to
the
think about how
centuries.
old Egypt is.
It's so
an
old.
old place. I mean, that has to happen,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Like,
And,
there's
like,
some cases
the-
like that too.
The
like,
constant the difference with where we live is that there's far less permanent settlements in ancient civilization, and those that are there are nowhere near where we live. So like you're not gonna be like Salt Lake isn't built on top of a stone city before.
Well, yeah, not a stone city, but there have been some cases in America where it's like, like there was an earthquake or a landslide that revealed that, oh yeah, we built on top of like a city in the 1900s.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh yeah, here's like an old shop, SHOPPE,
Oh.
shop.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You know, right? Like,
Guggenheim.
that stuff happens, and
I guess the closest we have is like in more like desert areas where there's like Pueblo stuff and adobe constructions, but like no, not like in Utah. It's
Yeah.
it's not a good place to build permanent settlements if you're not
Oh, yeah.
super advanced because the
yeah.
weather.
For all of you that are watching that are not in Utah, we live on a fault line.
We live on a fault line.
Like, we don't have to, we have the luxury of not dealing with like tsunamis or hurricanes or tornadoes, but we live on a fault line.
Mhm.
And in elementary school and a little bit in junior high, we talk about the very real possibility that one day this tension that has been building up for many years is going to snap,
Yeah. We'll all
and
die.
all our lives will be ruined. They
It's
taught us
either-
that in elementary school.
It's either
and
that or
Yay.
Yellowstone will explode and then we'll also all die.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
If Yellowstone explodes, then likely the Fallen will also go with it.
Yeah.
It's not a good place to have a permanent settlement.
So they
But
probably just
Egypt-
like hung
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Egypt's not optimal either, but they made it work. I guess because they had the Nile, which
Yeah.
is a good source of
Yeah.
water and
Too good of a
alligators.
source. That's why they made the Egyptian boat.
Yeah, the Egyptian boat.
Yeah, look at that, the sand boat.
Sand boat.
Same boat.
There's that one, the Christian Bale remake of the Moses story. What was it? Exodus, Gods and Kings.
What?
Where Christian
What?
Bale was Moses. Oh yeah, that came out. And
That sounds awesome.
And in that movie, oh, it's horrible.
Oh, never mind.
It's also very whitewashed.
Dang.
The way that he turns the Nile into blood as Moses is the alligators eat a bunch of people in the Nile and then it fills it with blood.
Wow.
It's not a good movie. Anyway,
Wow, what a nice way to have a biblical movie by removing all the stuff that made it biblical.
Yeah.
yeah, like
I mean, I guess if you wanted to do some more realistic telling, whatever.
yeah, like he starts like before he does any miracles and stuff, he just straight up starts a grassroots revolution where they're like raiding granaries and setting them on fire and stuff.
Oh boy.
And of course, all the main characters are played by white
I mean,
actors.
historically, that's probably what happened, but they definitely weren't white.
No, they
Yeah.
definitely were not. Oh my goodness. And with that note, let's move on to final thoughts and moment of the movie. Moment of the movie for our new guest can be your most favorite part, your least favorite part, something you just want to call out. We used to have separate categories for that. It was like most favorite, least favorite, thing you laughed the most at. And I was like, but then we just condensed it to moment of the movie. I'm gonna go to my moment is the cranes being too small, the crane being too small, and the crane broken. It just Eddie in general is my moment of the movie.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
fair. Yeah, that's a.
Let's do Ryland first this time.
Alrighty, yeah.
Second, I guess.
My final thoughts, they're basically the same as the beginning.
Mhm.
I don't think this discussion has really changed my mind on the fact that while the movie is very interesting, while it is like I did find some stuff interesting, it was just an okay documentary, and I wish it was more because it's a very interesting topic, and I think it deserves to be better than okay. My favorite part of the movie had to be probably the discovery of the crypt.
That was exciting.
That was exciting.
Cameron.
My favorite part of the movie was Mohamed and his getting his PhD. I just thought it was so endearing.
It
He's
was
just like, yeah, I'm carving this stuff to get my PhD, and I was like, you go, man.
yeah.
You go.
That's
I mean,
it is real inspiring.
We understand like
College.
it made me realize, oh yeah, getting a PhD kind of stinks. But if you really like it, then it's really cool.
Yeah.
I can't
I mean,
imagine
think about
voluntarily doing more school.
I mean, I can.
I mean, technically, that's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
We
I don't
all
know.
have our
It's like-
associates.
PhD is like doing school, but you're not in school and you don't know how to get the A, but you have to get an A somehow. You know?
And
Yeah.
if all his work was, if he earned a spot on a Disney Plus documentary, he's getting an A. I hope you
Maybe.
got your A, man.
Which,
Or
there was something.
Or
I
whatever
read
grading
that
system you use. I hope you got the tip top.
This was part of an advertising push that Egypt
Or
was
the
doing.
tut top.
Which makes sense. It does kind of feel like an advertisement for
Yeah,
Egypt.
but I mean, like I
Yeah,
said,
me
they
too.
have all the reason to.
Doesn't make me any more likely to go to Egypt.
Yeah.
I mean, it made me consider it, I guess, but I mean,
No,
I mean, I would go there if I was an archaeologist.
if I had the
but-
money and the time, sure, I'd go to Egypt.
seems like a
Or-
fun place to visit.
Disneyland. That's always the thing for me is like, why go to X place when I could just go to Disneyland for even longer?
No. I'll tell you
Um,
why.
Now it is time to rank the film in our ranking. I don't know where this one's gonna go.
Oh, is this against previous movies?
It's against
Yep.
previous movies that we've watched, yes. So
Uh-oh.
we've got our
Exactly, yeah.
so I
This is
will-
a weird
It goes on the
ranking.
top of the list for me. This is the first time I've been on this.
Yeah.
So you'll have
It-
some sort of frame of reference for where this should go.
Top being
Um,
the best, 22 being the worst.
Yes. I do think that this was better than the flamingo one, which actually is the worst. So that's not that high of a bar.
Oh yeah. I would say it was better than My Dog the Thief.
Mm-hmm. Was it worse than? I'd say.
You put Bambi at 17, huh?
We really didn't like it when we watched it. Apparently.
I guess. That's part of the fun of the show is we always doubt our decisions.
Also, which Spider-Man is that?
The animated series that
It's
came
a
out
bad
in
one.
2017.
Gotcha.
I want to put it
I'm kind of feeling putting it
right below Mom's Got a Date with a Vampire. Somehow
That's
that
true.
movie,
Mom's
like,
Got a Date with a Vampire was more fun.
mm-hmm.
Just based off of what I know about these movies, I'm gonna sandwich it right between Spider-Man and The Little Mermaid: Ariel's Beginning.
Oh dang!
Wow.
So we've either got number 19 or number 16. Number 15. 16 or 16. So I guess I'm the deciding vote. I'm gonna
I haven't seen any of the movies.
I'm gonna second Ryland's.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I'm
I haven't
gonna
seen
skew
any
a
of the
little
movies
higher.
below 17.
Because I just you said the words Little Mermaid Ariel's Beginning and I got flashbacks to just how garbage
You know what?
that
You're right.
was.
You're right. Yeah.
Ariel's
Like I said, I've never been on the show. I haven't seen those other ones, other than like the ones that are in the top.
I guess
so,
that's part of the fun.
My best guess.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna put it how I felt it, and I thought it was a very
Okay.
average documentary.
It's funny. Like all of our guests haven't seen any of the movies that we have,
Except for like the top.
except for the
I
top
haven't
ones.
seen Frozen 2.
Oh yeah, I hadn't seen it either until this show.
Yeah.
But apparently
Thanks,
it was very
Colin.
good.
I've yet to get hate for putting Empire Strikes Back in third place.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
He might get some hate from me.
It's below Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man's Chest and Frozen 2. Dude, we really liked Dead Man's Chest when we watched it.
Yeah. We talked about it for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
Good lord.
Yeah.
Dead Man's Chest is a jam. Anyway,
There was a problem because nobody didn't.
nobody didn't like
dislike.
it.
Yeah.
Anyway, Film Information and Statistics. This was written by no one. It's a documentary. This is directed by Ben Allen and Tom Jenner. It was released December 28th, 2016, just in time for Christmas. Runtime of 44 minutes. IMDb score of 6.5 out of 10.
I'd give it that.
No Rotten Tomatoes scores because it's not a real movie. Bechdel test doesn't really work too well with documentaries because most people are talking to themselves or the camera, but it does technically fail.
It's over.
Does it in fact fail the Bechdel test?
Yes. There's the...
Hey, wait a second. Who's this
Cut this
dude?
guy out. I don't want to hear about it.
He's not Egyptian. Get him out of this podcast. There we go.
We're back on Egypt.
Classic Egyptian man.
With the,
This is Egyptian
this
man.
is the archaeologist.
Yeah, with Toot and Ramen.
But yes, it does technically fail. There's the
Oh, yeah?
professor and the doctor who just swap out John. He's not even a real doctor. His wife is. She should have been the one walking the professor through. But they're not. But I do give it a caveat that documentaries are tricky because people rarely talk to each other. I think those two are basically the only conversation between two people that we see.
It's not like the thing is like you
The
can't
thing
like
is, isn't
set
the-
up in a situation.
Yeah,
know
you
what I
can't
mean?
set up a situation.
Isn't the Bechdel test two women only talking about men?
No, it's
Yeah, that's what it's testing for. Yeah, as if
In that case,
you need
the
two
thing
women
is, I
talking
don't
to each
think
other.
I ever seen two women talk to each other. So
But
therefore,
see-
it does not qualify for the Bechdel test.
No, it
but
does- it
but
does
like
fail.
he said, the problem is like with
Nobody
the Bechdel
really
test,
talks
it's
to
about
anybody.
like whether or
it's
not
for
you're
screenwriting.
Yeah.
yeah,
So
but it's
that's
about
why
like
I add the technicality for her.
Yeah.
Because it's part of the statistics,
count.
but it doesn't really count.
yeah.
If anything, it's a mark of the failure of the archaeological society of not having enough women in it.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And that's what I can come up with. And it is now time to spin the wheel. This week's wheel was submitted by email by D1-C3. And is, I guess it's late speak for dice, is what I could come up with.
What?
Yeah, D1C3. Dice.
Sure.
And it is the Cars wheel.
Yay!
Life is
Maybe
a
we'll get a
highway.
movie.
Cody is going to be on the next episode, everybody. We finally got him. We've been
Yeah.
trying to get him in since episode 2, and it is episode 23.
Congratulations, Cody.
So, as usual, we will have our guests spin the wheel. So you will walk right over there off camera where the wheel is. Give it a yank and shout
Yeet
yeet.
that wheel.
It's sound activated. Yeet. Okay. Still spinning. Still spinning. Oh heck! Cars.
Oh, heck.
The first?
Cars. First Cars. 2006.
Yes.
For your
Oh,
ranking
we're
of
not watching a
empires-
short. Oh.
I was worried we were gonna watch a Mater short, which
Thank
is
you, wheel.
primarily what's in the wheel.
Oh.
Yeah, Cars.
We got lucky.
Oh my.
I was hoping you would get both the Mater shorts and Cars 2.
I was kind of hoping that I would get Cars 3 because I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, I haven't seen it either.
Or Rescue Squad Mater.
No.
No.
I'm very, very, very glad I'm not on next episode.
Yeah, it's
I
gonna
do
be
not
the
like
2006.
Oh, really?
I do not like Cars.
It's got
I
like
don't like
Owen Wilson,
Also
right?
Wilson, yeah.
Yeah.
And Larry the Cable Guy.
Wow.
I'm gonna
Wow.
say it a lot in the next episode. Why are they cars? That's all that I'm gonna talk about next episode. They
Why
could
aren't
just
the
be
face-
people who drive cars? And
Why
nothing
don't
would
the
be
faces have real skin like the one in that plane movie?
Oh,
Plain TV
don't
show?
make me think about that.
You've not seen that?
Human children do not like to watch other humans do stuff. Therefore, it must be
It's because John Lasseter's got a weird thing for cars.
Yeah, that's fair.
Also, we'll probably not talk about John Lasseter that much during the next episode
Vroom.
because him.
He's not watching this.
No, he's not watching this. If you
That's
are,
him. He is watching this.
Oh boy.
John Lasseter. Anyway, now it's time to decide what wheel we're gonna spin next time. I'm gonna spin this around. This is the chance for us to try and get something that we want to watch, and for the guest who's not gonna be on next episode to sabotage it. Kind of.
Yeah, it's
I guess
fair.
we can if you want to.
So do we get to choose which?
Yeah, choose which wheel we spin next.
Yeah, we don't have a wheel for a wheel.
We could. I mean, sometimes we've done a wheel because we haven't been able to decide. We don't have. So nobody submitted the Halloween collection yet, which is disappointing. Hugh Jackman's kind of Halloween because this is gonna come up. This next episode's gonna come up.
So what
post
exactly is the Skywalker Saga collection?
Halloween. That's just the main 6 Star Wars movies.
Oh, okay. We got
Oh, hi there.
more non-Egyptian people.
Uh,
Back to Obi-Wan. Egyptian Obi-Wan.
Ooh. That's the archaeologist.
You're right.
A wonderful map painting that I did.
Yeah, so that would just be.
I mean, that does actually kind of look like him, except younger.
Let's do Hugh Jackman. Why not?
Okay, we're
Hugh
gonna,
Jackman.
Yeah, we're
I
gonna
wanted to do it a
Thank
while
you,
ago.
Dallin, for
Thank
your
you.
submission.
Thank you, Dallin. Oh, Dallin's the same one who submitted the Kenny Ortega wheel.
Oh, that means we're gonna get something bad.
Nope, that was Luke. Dallin is in the same D&D.
Sorry for doubting
Dallin
you,
is in the same
Dallin.
D&D group as Luke. That's how I got confused. So yeah, we'll be spinning the Hugh Jackman wheel, which actually has a lot more stuff in it since we added the wheel. Because when we added the wheel, it was the Wolverine, X-Men 1, and Greatest Showman. And I really don't want to watch Greatest Showman.
Now you get Les Mis.
Oh boy. Oh boy. We're gonna get that probably.
Or Greatest Showman. I don't like Greatest Showman. Is
Oh,
Les Mis on Disney Plus?
Well, we haven't talked about that
How much
many
I
musicals on the
dislike
show,
Greatest Showman.
which is odd for a
You
Disney.
dislike the Greatest
Did not like the movie.
I have never seen it.
Oh really?
Yeah.
It gave me the same brain feels that stuff like Mom's Got a Date with a Vampire gives me, where it's just like, what the heck?
Also, what's
is going-"
Mom's Got a Date with a Vampire?
Don't worry about it.
Pretty self-explanatory. It's our first episode.
It's a Disney TV
Classic.
show like
It's a Disney
movie
Channel
kind of
original
thing.
That's
movie
Yeah,
where
yeah.
Mom's got a date with a vampire.
That sounds like the plot for one of the Fred movies.
Yeah.
Thank goodness those are not on Disney Plus.
Yeah, that'd been terrible.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
They made, what, 4 of those?
Yeah, I think
Yes.
so.
3.
I feel like there was 4 though.
I feel like there was 3. There was Normal Fred, Halloween Fred, and Camp Fred.
Wow. Okay.
I'm glad that you knew that. There might. I feel like there might be Camp Fred.
Camp Fred 3, Camp I Want a Pee-Pee. I think that's what it was called.
Fred 1 was really just a less good Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
I mean,
You could fight me on that.
how did he get a movie in the
Remember-
first place?
Remember how in the first movie, in the first Fred movie, right? he wanted to go peeping Tom on his neighbor friend.
Yeah,
What?
Australian
Who was-
actress.
Who was very hot.
She's an I'm number 4.
In the perception of Fred, I can't say that because I can't remember how old she was in the movie.
Oh, okay.
So Fred thinks she's quite the number, and he digs into his
They're
backyard,
keeping all of
or
this
he, yeah, here, listen. He digs a hole into his backyard and into his neighbor's yard. You know, invasion
Okay.
of privacy, breaking many laws. But unbeknownst to Fred, he the woman moves to a different house, and the new family that moves in is Chinese. And Fred pops
Oh,
and Fred
no.
pops out of the ground, and he sees these two Chinese kids,
Oh, I remember this.
and he looks at the camera and he screams, "I dug my way to China!"
That movie is such crap.
That was a lot of build up in that one joke. Is it? Which movie is it?
Fred is racist.
Is it Bubble Boy? I don't know. There's some movie that's in that vein where someone's
John Cena hides in a fridge? That's the
no,
only thing I remember about that
where
movie.
someone
Yeah.
climbs up a ladder into what they think is their house, and it's not their house, but it's a Chinese man showering, and he karate kicks him out of the window
Wow.
into the pool. He falls into the pool.
What?
Also, do
What
you remember?
movie is that?
Also, do you remember in Fred 2? Where,
No, I haven't seen Fred
where
2.
John Cena drives Fred, who is his son, and John Cena is Fred's idealized version of his dad. And he takes him to the WWE arena, the real one, or one of the real ones.
No, Google's giving me nothing when I
And
search
then-
movie ladder karate kick pool.
And then there is an actual crowd of real life WWE fans who probably paid a lot for a ticket into this venue. They pay, to see an event. And what they got to see was John Cena and Fred
Is this the Halloween
have
one?
an actual, the Halloween one, have an actual, by the way, ad.
Oh,
I'll resume after the ad is finished.
Too much admin.
too much admin work.
Have a WWE tag team match with Fred's neighborhood bully and his middle-aged music teacher, who Fred thinks is a vampire,
What?
who's trying to seduce his mom.
And this is all because of Mom's Got Dave the Vampire.
Yes. And this was
Who
in an
wrote this movie?
And this was in an actual WWE arena with actual WWE fans, shot with actual WWE cameras. Think
Stay
about
tuned for our for Ryland's Fred movie watch podcast,
Is this?
where we watch all of the Fred movies, and then we watch all of the Fred YouTube videos. Was it on
Oh,
YouTube
man.
yet?
What?
When he started, it was just his own website. Anyway, we're not talking
Oh,
about
I
Fred
thought
anymore.
I thought he started on YouTube.
No, he started pre-YouTube. He was on an episode of iCarly.
What?
When he manufactured a feud between him and iCarly with their websites.
Oh yeah.
Huh.
But also, I would like to also point out, imagine paying for you and your family to go to the WWE game.
They knew that it was Fred, though. They knew.
Maybe it's like SNL, and you have to like purchase a ticket a year in advance, and you don't know what in God's name you're gonna show up for. Imagine
pretty sure it's
imagine
pay-per-view.
showing-
Can we do a Fred movie podcast?
Fairly certain it'd be like pay-per-view.
I still have a podcast requirement to do for this year, so
Well, yeah.
We're gonna
that's
watch
true.
all 3 Fred movies.
yeah.
I'm not gonna be on
Welcome
that.
to hell.
I'll be on that podcast. Anyway, thank you all so much for listening. I think I'm going to keep all that in because that was gold. If you like the show, please review it on iTunes or whatever podcast service you use to listen to and share with your friends. You can submit your reviews or comments to WhereStreamsComeTrue@gmail.com. You can also submit stuff, which I never put in the write-up, so I have to scramble to remember. At Studio76WSCT on Twitter. There's also my Twitter at Collins Blakely. We are on all the platforms except for Amazon Music, which is pending.
Still? Dang.
Yeah, they haven't emailed me back. We're not cool enough.
Come on, Jeff Bezos.
We're not a true
you know you
crime
love
podcast.
Disney.
Think about all the stuff.
They saw like this is a Disney podcast.
Mr. Bezos, think about all the stuff you put on Amazon Prime.
It's good.
Why not us?
I got recommended to me on Amazon Prime Video a movie called Species, where a synthetic humanoid woman goes on a killing spree while searching for a man.
Oh, I think I've heard of that. Yeah.